good evening, everybody. I'm Michelle Chesney from Boss Ladies Creating Empires, and I'm here tonight with Ramona Crabtree-Falkner, and she is hosting her workshop, Reclaim Your Energy and Alignment. Welcome, Ramona. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Happy
Oh,
to
you're
be
welcome.
here. So we're gonna dive into becoming more aware of where we're losing our energy and where we need to reclaim it. So reclaim your energy and alignment is all about releasing what drains you, reclaiming your energy, and realigning to your true self. And I am your guide, Ramona Crabtree-Falkner. I'm a transformational empowerment coach. So I just like to set some intention before we get going into this journey because so often we're running and we're doing the things and we're not taking enough time to really bring ourselves back into the present moment. So we're just going to take a moment and bring ourselves here and see what it is that brought our interest into being in this space. So, what intentions do you have for this time? What is it that you're hoping to gain? What is it that would help you feel more empowered in your life? So this is where we're going to set those intentions, those moments of awareness around what it is that inspired you to be here and experience this beautiful workshop.
I
Just
know
give you a
I'm
moment.
here, being a mom, juggling everything at once. Always looking for good tips to get realigned and, you know, help my energy.
Yeah. And that's one of the number one reasons why it is I do this work is because as women, we do it all.
Yes, a hundred
We're
percent.
we're we're momming, we're wifing, we're working, we're bossing, we're doing all the
Yes.
things, right? And so we can do those things in a way that is more aligned and intentional. So tonight I'm hoping to help illuminate some of the areas that might be contributing to why it is that that's not working. So we'll start out with me and my story a little bit. So I'm Ramona Crabtree-Falkner. I am a mindfulness and empowerment coach. I'm the founder of Authentic Life Journey, and I am a 20-year plus holistic wellness professional. So what does that mean? That means that over 20 years ago, I decided to go to massage therapy school so that I could have a more flexible schedule since I was a mom. I wanted to be able to work whenever it was convenient, whenever my son was cared for by his other parent, and just to make it so that my life was more accessible. But here's the thing. I didn't realize at the time, I was in my late 20s. I didn't really realize in the time what that actually meant to be an entrepreneur, to be responsible for everything that brought my business to life. And so over that 20 years, I dove into other practices, yoga teacher, energy healing, and eventually dove into teaching others. And all along that time, I was hustling, 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 hustling. So I'm going to tell you right now, friends, it does not matter what business model you are in, burnout, overdoing it, overwhelm, people pleasing, it affects everyone based on what their belief structures were built on. So mine were built on you have to get all of your ducks in a row. You have to keep pedaling hard all day long to make it work. You have to stretch yourself to the end regardless of whether or not you have anything left in the tank. And then I added becoming a single mom on top of it. So started my business and then eventually ended up divorced. So then here I am, a single mom, and I'm starting a storefront. So I'm working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, to make ends meet because I opened my business 6 months before the bottom fell out in the economy in 2007. 2006, I think actually is what it was. So that time frame right in there where everything just went flat. The housing markets dropped, everything turned upside down. And so I spent the next 3 years just getting by. So ultimately, that built a framework for me around what running my business was going to look like. And it looked like hustle, it looked like striving, it looked like constantly overdoing it. And I was a doormat and I was getting walked on and I was getting taken advantage of over and over and over and over and over again. And then health crisis comes in. I have to have my thyroid removed because I grew a tumor and I had to make some real big changes. And so that happened in 2012. And from that point forward, that's when the change and everything that brought me to what I teach now began. I had to start applying all the things that I was learning, all this energy work, all of these amazing tools that I had in my toolbox, but I wasn't living them. So it was 2016 when I was told I was going to have rods put into my back. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Right.
So I had to start applying what I learned. And so I started meditating every day and I started applying energy work and I started doing more mindfulness based practices. And that's when I channeled through my first coaching program. And that's really where everything changed. And all of the women that I was serving, all of the people that were coming to my door were the same in the same place that I was just breaking free of. So for the last 9 years, I have been developing this muscle around being more intentional, being mindful, teaching mindfulness, and ultimately transforming my business model to where it is now. And so, after 20 years of being in the holistic wellness field and burning myself out numerous times, my business now is in empowering other women that are overwhelmed, stressed out, or feeling stuck to realign themselves and create a life that is intentional and on purpose. So that's why I'm here. And that's why I share this because I've been there, I've done it. And I've also seen the power of these tools that I've taught impacting someone's life in a way that is transformative. And so that's why I use the phrase transformational empowerment coach. And I'm not empowerment. You're the empowerment. You just need to be able to remember how to touch with it. And so that's what I'm here to help you do. So we have to figure out where we are. Where did we start? So if you found yourself to this program, it's because something's not working. Something is misaligned. Something feels like you know there needs to be a change. You just don't know what to do to get there. So I like to start out with this quiz. So you can use the QR code here and it will take you directly to the quiz. And you can take it later. You don't have to take it today, but I think it will be a really great tool to help you begin to understand what's going on right now that needs to be given the attention because awareness is the number one first tool that everyone must have in order for transformation to occur. Without awareness of what it is that's not working, then we have no idea where we need to put our attention, where we need to put our focus, where we need to put our energy. And what I will tell you is if you look at these two images, we have this woman that's got her hands in her face in her hands, and you can tell she's strained, she's overwhelmed, she's stressed. When she can step into her power, when she can reclaim her energy, when she can realign to her purpose, then there's freedom. And that's why I love the picture of this woman with her arms open wide and the sun shining down on her, and it's and the field is wide open, like there's nothing in front of her. So that means that it's limitless. So my hope for you tonight is that whatever happens throughout this experience today, that you find some awareness and some clarity that can help you begin to step towards this beautiful woman in the second picture with her arms wide open. So, with everything, grounding is what helps us really move forward. So, I'm going to just invite you to close your eyes for a moment. If your feet are not on the ground, put your feet on the ground. Or if you're seated on the ground, then just really sink into your seat and close your eyes. Let your hands relax. Let your shoulders drop down. Let your heart broaden and open. And then you're going to take a deep cleansing breath in. And as you exhale, sigh it out of the mouth. Another deep cleansing breath in and sigh it out of the mouth. One more time. Deep cleansing breath in and sigh it out of the mouth. And I want you to imagine that either your seat or your feet are sinking deep, deep down into Mother Earth. And you are feeling cradled and held and supported. And you're grounding yourself down into this moment, for this time, for this experience, knowing that there's nowhere else to be, there's nothing else to do, that for this time here with me, all there is this moment of presence with yourself, with your heart's inner knowing, with your true, authentic being. So I'm going to invite you to put down several items right now. Put down any expectations you might have. Put down any need to be anything. Put down the responsibilities outside of this moment. For right now, none of that needs to be held. Just set it down. And know that if it is necessary to be picked up once again, it will be. But for now, you can let it go. You can bring yourself so fully into the present moment. And you can allow yourself to be fully here. This is your time, your space to be in an unconditionally loving experience and moment with yourself. And in a moment, whenever you do bring yourself back, I'm going to invite you to come back with the intention of being kind and compassionate with yourself as we begin to explore. Gently blink your eyes open and bring your awareness back to the present. So we're going to start with what's draining you. I don't know about you, but anybody wants to give any input here, I'll invite you to input it. Anybody an overgiver? A people pleaser? Have issues with perfectionism?
That's me.
So these are some of the core behavioral patterns that cause us to be drained. So what this is doing is it's draining you of your life force energy to be participating in these behavioral patterns. So when we are overgiving, that means that we're not observing ourselves from a place of, is this feeling in alignment for me and my energy today? When we're people pleasing, this can be a sign that we are seeking something outside of ourselves for our approval or our value, or we've just said yes too many times. And we need to learn how to pause and evaluate if it's a real yes or if it's just a programmed yes. Perfectionism. I don't know this one at all. Perfectionism is how we end up stuck, right? Is when we are. So think about the business professional that has this amazing idea, and they just know that it's going to make such an impact. It's gonna help so many people. But this screen here, it's this what's draining you is too high above the line. And I have to keep adjusting it until it's in the right place. And I just adjust it up and down and up and down and up and down. And I can't find the right spot for it to be. So instead of moving forward and just going, I go nowhere. So I have struggled with perfectionism because I was a theater major and everything had to look perfect on the stage. And that was not the only reason, but that was a big part of my training, right? Like you had to be on time, you had to, like
Mm-hmm.
I could lay out all the things I did in theater that if it was not done exactly right, then somebody would be in the dark. So as a stage manager, I was great because I made sure that that cue went off exactly when it was supposed to. But here's the problem with this. That is necessary in that environment. It's not necessary in my house. It's not necessary on my slideshow. Yes, I want things to be presentable, but my eye focusing so much on it being exactly this can keep me frozen. Okay. So the
100%.
overgiving, the people pleasing, the perfectionism, this eventually leads to burnout. Where we find that we're lacking any joy, we're lacking any excitement, we're lacking anything that is inspiring our life. So here's the thing, burnout is not a flaw, it's a signal, it's an opportunity. And so when you're in there, the biggest thing you can do for yourself is start developing some awareness. And that's not easily done. We have to put effort and intention towards that. So I have a couple of journaling prompts here that I want to give you as an opportunity to start developing that awareness. So the first one is, where in my life do I feel most drained? And what thoughts, habits, or patterns might be contributing to this depletion? So again, let's just go with curiosity whenever you're doing this. Give yourself the space to be curious. And the second one is, how would my life be different if I felt balanced, energized, and confident every day? So I'll share with you both of these journaling prompts are prompts I worked with as I was breaking free of my own drains. And I went through another layer of burnout last year as I went into menopause. Like, I'm telling you what, physical change in your body absolutely contributes to this happening. And so I was
100%.
like, I have this under control. I'm doing the work. I'm great. And then, man, hormones, boom.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So I got to do this work again last year whenever I was going, all right, what is not working? I literally spent the year last year shutting everything down, maintaining the bare minimum because I didn't have the energy to do it, first of all. I had no inspiration. And I spent a lot of time in my bed because I was severely depressed. So I was grateful though that I was aware of what was going on because then I could at least journal and meditate and ask for help. And asking for help is usually a really big part of clearing some of these imbalances. So now we've dove into three of the drains. Now we're going to talk about the myths of why we stay stuck in them. So, myth number one, if I work harder, then that equals worthiness. Myth two, if I slow down, then I'm falling behind. And myth three, external validation equals success. Whew. Those are those are heavy.
Very.
They're heavy. So here's what I want to share with you. Your worthiness is not decided by how much you put in. Your worthiness is decided by you. You knowing yourself so clearly that you know that you're worthy of anything. You don't have to work so hard to earn that dollar. In fact, it's when you allow yourself the time to restore that more of that dollar comes. You want to know why? Because your body needs to rest, your mind needs to rest, your soul needs to speak. So our soul speaks in the quiet times. And then all of a sudden, I'm inspired. So that year of quiet, that depression, man, let me tell you how much clarity I got out of spending a few months laying low. I wouldn't be here today without it. Two, slowing down is falling behind. Whew. I just told you I spent months in the bed. I really had to come to terms with that last year. I really had to be present with that issue of feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing anything. I'm not getting anywhere. What am I, how am I going to ever get to where I need to go? So slowing down is actually, as I just said, necessary. So we're yin and yang. So what is yang? Go, 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 produce, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. What is yin? Rest, reception, pause. So when we're in the rest stage, you heard use the word reception. That is when spirit can speak to you and you can hear them. So those ideas, those inspirations, those aha moments, they don't come when you're sitting behind the computer for 12 hours pounding away. They come when you sit at the beach and listen to the water hitting against the shore. They come when you are sitting on the back porch drinking your tea and watching the birds. Slowing down is absolutely necessary in order for you to propel forward. External validation equals success. So just like working harder and worthy, my success is not decided by what I produce. My success is decided by who I am and how I show up as her. So last week, I was sharing with Michelle earlier, I did a talk at a mastermind group, and I got up and I shared my talk and I cried 3 times in 5 minutes. And not because I was afraid, and not because I felt like I was doing something wrong, and not because of anything other than I was feeling the power of the divine speaking through me because what I was saying was absolutely true. And I will tell you that I've spent a week running into people that were at that meeting. And every single one of them were like, you touched the room. You are what I wish I could do when I give that talk. You were so authentic and vulnerable and real. That's my success. Yes, do I want there to be business on the other side of that talk? 100%. But you know why there's going to be business on the other side of that talk? Because I was vulnerable and real. I was authentic to me, and I allowed them to see that authenticity clearly. So in my view, from where I stand and what I'm teaching, your success is about, are you showing up aligned to your authentic truths and standing in those values and allowing yourself to be seen for them? That's your success. And when we do that, the financial abundance and wealth beyond financial, the abundance of life expands. We become. We become. And then it just grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. So it's an opportunity for you to decide if these myths are going to run your life or not. So, how do we shift? How do we move from the drains and the myths into our power? I was talking with a client today that's going through something, and she was like, I just got to power through. And I was like, can we work on that language a little? Because that's a little bit like yang and not really inclusive of what it is that I know you know. And she was like, okay, what do you think? I said, can we say you're going to move through this empowered? Because moving through something empowered is I'm aligning to my truth and I'm stepping forward in that truth. And I'm allowing myself to say no where it's a no and yes where it's a yes. And I am allowing myself to walk away from things even if I've already committed to it. That's empowered. It's when you can say, wow, I made a decision and I'm going to have to rethink that. And I'm going to tell you right now, from somebody who spent her life not doing that, I would just be like, well, I committed. I have to finish it out. The ability to recognize when something is not working and being willing to then do the right thing for me was the shift. Because I reclaimed my energy by doing what mattered to me. I honored my capacity by saying no when it was not a yes. And I trusted my inner guidance to show me the way there. And sometimes my ego jumped the gun, and I would have to go back and go, so upon reflection, I've realized that I cannot do this. And I had to do it today. I had to send a text today to back out of something that I was already a month into. And it kind of felt like things were misaligned. And then I got some information that I had to adjust within my business model over the weekend. And I went, now it's absolutely not aligned. So I sat in stillness and I asked, how do I express this to this person professionally and not have it come across as it had anything to do with them? It has everything to do with my alignment with my business. And I managed to be able to share that information and got a positive response from the person, and it was done. So the only thing that would have kept me stuck there is me pushing forward because I made a commitment. Sometimes we have to change that commitment, and it's okay. And it feels uncomfortable to do that, especially if you're dealing with perfectionism,
Mhm.
if you're dealing with overgiving, people pleasing. It is hard to do that when you're out of touch with your inner guidance. So, getting back in touch with your inner guidance is really, really, really important. So, one of the things that I do most oftentimes, and I'm not saying always because I am human and we have human things that happen, there are times that I say yes and then I've realized it was a no. And I have to make an adjustment. I have to choose me. But by pausing, I use this phrase called the sacred pause. When someone asks something of me, I need to take the sacred pause and ask my inner self, my inner knowing, my higher awareness, is this the right fit for me? And when I don't do that and it's not the right fit, it starts to feel like anxiety. It starts to feel like tension. It starts to feel like frustration. It starts to feel like I'm doing something that is not working. So by learning to reclaim your energy by doing what matters to you, and only that, like getting really aligned with what is it that's mine, what is it that's in my bucket, my zone of genius. Do I have the capacity for this conversation, for this project, for this insert whatever word you need to here? And have I paused and asked my higher self if this is aligned? Those those three moments, those three awarenesses, those three shifts will begin to change how you say yes. And that's where the empowerment begins to rise. So, why is it important to know what truly restores you? What happens when we ignore the need to reset? And how does restoration shift the way we show up in our life and work? Those are some questions you can ask yourself. You can explore within yourself to bring more awareness. So that's where we're going, awareness. What's draining us versus fueling us. So wherever my energy is going, I have to ask, is it aligned with what I truly value? If it is not aligned with my intentions, with my focus, with my vision. And so I use that phrase a lot. Is this in alignment with my vision? So, having this reading done I had done earlier this week, I was asked to look at that. I was asked to look at what are you bringing from the past that isn't meant for the future? What are you doing that was your past programming that you're still leaning into because it's comfortable or because it feels safe? By shifting myself into that question, what it did for me is it allowed me to recognize, oh, there's a few things that I'm doing that I'm going to let go. And I've already shared, I had to do that this week. I had to go, okay, so there's this thing, it's not aligned anymore. I'm going to have to let it go. And I don't do that lightly, friends. I do it I do it intentionally because my heart is my guide. And so I want to make sure that I'm not creating harm in any place that I'm leaving. So it's always with intention that we share that shift that we need to have. So with the awareness, we can begin to make these shifts. We can begin to step into our power. And when we're in our power, we feel confident. We feel worthy. We know our value. And we're willing to say no to anything that is not aligned to that value. So, this is why we want to cultivate awareness and why it's necessary. So, where do you need to say yes to you? Cultivating awareness begins by creating the space to restore. So, I have this image here. It says self-care time. So, self-care is going to look different for everyone. What I view as self care is not going to be what somebody else views as self care. So I don't have the perfect answer to what restores you because I have a friend that what restores her is dancing around in her kitchen and twirling what looks like a baton. That does not restore me. What restores me is being outside, like being in nature, being in that frequency that is more aligned. And I think that that actually is something that helps most everyone on the planet. But I know for me that that is one of my number one go-to things that I do when I need to return to self. I love water. I'm a Florida girl, so Gulf Coast beaches. That's where I go, and the dolphins come and play with me, and I it's my sanctuary.
That's amazing.
So, right. So I know that that's where I go for self-care. So everyone has different things, and we need to be able to apply those practices daily. So you have to figure out small ways that self-care can be applied as well as the big ways. So like I really love travel. It feels playful and fun for me. It also feels very restoring for me. And can't travel every day of the week. So I have to make sure I have other things that are in my world that are going to help me have that restoration. So it's really important that you start becoming aware of what restores you and how you would like to bring that into your life. So I'm going to give you a practice though also. So breathing is something that we do we do it automatically, but we're not breathing enough. So oftentimes when my clients come to me, they're coming because they have a lot of anxiety. Like that's ultimately what's brought them through the door is anxiety. And so learning to become aware and break through these drains, all of that is part of why they have the anxiety is because they're stuck in those places. So box breathing is a way to bring you into the moment immediately. So I'm going to take you through a couple of rounds of this. Uh, so basically, think of a box, right? And we're going to breathe along the edges of the box. So we're going to inhale, pause, exhale, pause. So I'm going to take you through it so that you're actually going through it in real time. So I'm going to invite you to take a deep breath in, sigh it out. Another deep breath in and sigh it out. Now, on the inhale, breathe into your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now keep your eyes closed. Just settle into a natural breath. Observe how you feel now. Do you feel the same as before we began the breathing exercise? When you feel ready, come back out. Feeling different?
Calm, relaxed.
Yeah. So this is the kinds of things that we want to bring on board that we could have sitting at our desk. Okay, oh, my alarm went off. I'm going to do my box breathing for 5 rounds, 6 rounds, whatever it may be. We just did 3 rounds and that's what you had happen. But the the pace that we move is very similar to like a music pace. Dun 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 dun. It's very slow and intentional. So make sure that if you're using this as a practice, you're doing it with intention. So when we slow down. So we have a couple of journaling prompts here I'm going to invite you to explore just to help you start to develop again that awareness around what it is that you need. So how do I currently restore my energy? And what practices might make me feel lighter and more alive? So these are 2 journaling prompts that you can dive into a little bit more explore within yourself just to help raise up that awareness so that you can actively create the space for them. So, your aligned next steps: intentional awareness, embodied boundaries, self trust, and energetic integrity. So, intentional awareness: become more conscious of where your energy goes. This matters because that's how you're going to begin to recognize what's in alignment and what's out of alignment for your life. Being intentionally aware means that I'm not going having that constantly having that after the fact awareness. I want to have it before. I want to have it in the moment. I want to be present with what it is that I'm choosing to put my energy towards. So even though I shared I had to go back and release something after I'd agreed to something, that was one of those after the fact awarenesses. If I had taken the intentional pause and really asked myself, is this really aligned? Maybe I wouldn't have said yes to begin with. Embodied boundaries. So honor your energy through aligned choices that reflect your value. So boundaries are not meant for anyone else, they're meant for you. They're meant for you to say, yes, this is aligned. No, this is not aligned. They're meant for you to recognize if something or someone that is in your sphere is meant to be there, right? Versus just allowing everybody to come in. So I mentioned earlier that I spent some time at feeling like a doormat, and it was because in my early years of my business, people could just show up or not show up for their appointments, and I would just take it. What did that do to me? It made me angry. It made me frustrated. It made me feel like I wasn't valued. But nobody did that to me but me because I didn't have appropriate boundaries about what would happen if they did that. And so when I started applying them, I will never forget this client. Oh my gosh. I actually had a client come in for his appointment afterward because I said, you didn't come in for your appointment again. There's a fee. This is the fee. So you will need to pay this fee next time you come in. Whew. That man, I will never forget him. He comes in and he gets his appointment. I said, okay, so it's this much plus your fee. If you're going to charge me this, I'm never coming here again. I said, okay, it's this amount. And I had to get okay with people saying things like that to me because they didn't honor my time. And it wasn't the first time he had done it because that's why he was getting the fee applied, because I always gave too many times. And so if by the time I'm telling you you have to pay a fee, it was probably 10 times before that you'd done that.
Right.
So what I had learned out of that was I have to set those boundaries from the beginning. I have to set those parameters earlier on. And so then I have to honor them. So nobody crosses my boundaries unless I allow them to. So embodied boundaries means I am setting appropriate boundaries for what's right for my life. And I'm honoring that my energy is important and valuable. And do you know what happens whenever we do that? We attract people that will honor them. Self-trust and energetic integrity. Trusting your inner truth as your guide instead of external validation. So even though I've been getting lots of really lovely feedback from all of the things that I've been doing with my new business model, I know without a doubt in my heart that I'm grateful for every one of those affirmations, but that's all they are. They're affirmations of what I already know to be true. And when we can get into that space and we know ourselves and we're showing up in that authenticity and we are at peace with that authenticity, then it just gets to be you saying, thank you for that compliment. And boy, let me tell you, that's something I had to learn also because accepting compliments was not something I was so good at a long time ago until I was called out on it. And then I started going, oh, okay, how do I shift that? And so ultimately what I learned is that when someone is offering me an affirmation or a compliment, it's actually their joy in their time with me. And that's it. And it doesn't have to be anything else. When I take it on as a validation, that's my ego getting fed. I used to call that the ego snacks. Yay, I get all this ego snacks, Scooby snacks. So when we can love ourselves so much that we know that what we're doing is aligned and right, whether what's coming in is positive or negative, it doesn't diminish you. So the problem with external validation is the negative diminishes you. The positive feeds your ego. Neither one of them is soul aligned. So we want to find ourselves to that place where we know ourselves so well and we feel completely at peace with who we are. So by allowing yourself to begin to work on creating these frequencies, these experiences, these awarenesses in our life, then we can step more fully into our empowered existence. So I want you to close your eyes for a minute. And we're just going to put everything down. We've done all of this shedding, all of this awareness, and then we've now have these ideas of like how we want to move forward, right? So I want you to close your eyes and take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, sigh it out. Another deep breath in. On the exhale, sigh it out. And one more time, deep breath in. And on the exhale, sigh it out. And now that you're settled back into that space where we've entered a couple of times throughout this session, it's easy to get back in there, that space of just peace. I want you to use your imagination. Invite your imagination to be awakened here. And as you're waking up your imagination, I want you to envision what your life would be like when you're living with more clarity and alignment and empowerment. What would it feel like in your body? What kind of experiences can you envision happening? How do you radiate? How do you experience life? How do people experience you? When you are that beacon, when you are that light, when you are that authenticity, when you are truth, love, and peace, walking the divine purpose on this planet, your divine purpose. Feel that. Let it become a cellular memory. Let it be one with you. And when you return to the outside, bring it with you. Let it walk forward with you in life. When you're ready, gently blink your eyes open. Yeah. Do you feel that?
Mhm.
Like the temperature just went up in my body. Woo! That was a big bright Vision. Yeah, love it.
Yes.
Love it. So, a couple more journaling prompts here to close our time. What's one shift I'm ready to make that would help me feel more energized, aligned, and in integrity with what matters most in my life? And lastly, what kind of support will help me sustain this shift and stay connected to my energy and alignment? So sometimes it's really hard to do it alone. So as you're becoming aware of what's showing up, it might be important to evaluate if there's space needed for support. So you have the power to shift. It's all within you. I don't have it to give to you. I'm simply sharing wisdom. It's up to you to decide if you're going to pick up your lantern and walk forward with me. So, reclaiming your energy isn't about doing more, it's about realigning with what matters most. So, a little if you feel inspired by anything I shared with you today and would like to know more, would like to talk with me, would like to see how we might be able to work together, I have my information here. The QR code will take you to I think it takes you to my website, but there's all kinds of buttons to have a free exploratory call. So the opportunity here is for a free exploratory call where we can chat and see what it is that I might be able to support you in. I have a couple different things that I offer. I have a breakthrough session, which is a single session just to help you dive even deeper into what we've explored here today. I have the Empowered Authenticity program. It's a 4-month journey of self awareness and awakening. And then I also offer transformational women's retreats. And we have a beautiful, amazing, magical retreat coming in 2026. We launched it last week. It is a 8-day trip to Italy, and we will move
Um,
from yes, we will go from Florence to Tuscany to the Amalfi Coast, and this experience will be an embodiment of not just the culture and the experience of this country, but it will be a mindful experience because every step of the way I will be with you to help you embrace and embody the experience you're having so that it becomes a part of you and you can be the living embodiment of that joy. So if there's anything here that's inspired you, I would love to talk with you more. Thank you for joining today's session. You already have everything you need inside. This is about you remembering and finding your way back to reclaim your energy, align with your purpose, and rise empowered.
this was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Feel free, check out the replay. Also, tell us your biggest takeaway. Um, Tell us what is one commitment you can make to yourself today. We want to know where you're tuning in from. If you have any questions for Ramona, she'll come in and answer your questions. And
Absolutely.
then she has her QR code, her phone number, and her website, and everything she does right here for you.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for having me.
Oh,
And
you're welcome. This was
I'm grateful to
amazing.
share this.
Yes. And I'm going to put the replay in the Empowering Bosses Creating Empires group. And I will also put it on my YouTube page, Boss Ladies Creating Empires. Thank you for taking time with me tonight, Ramona.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thanks, everybody.